recording? Okay. So we'll cut out the part where I ask if you're recording. And we'll cut out after the show's over.
Okay.
Okay. Now, hold on, I gotta start Okay.
Those spontaneous Biden victory celebrations on Saturday with little to no social distancing came as the U.S. was averaging more than 120,000 new COVID-19 cases a day. Were those Biden victory celebrations coronavirus super spreader events? Health experts, including former Planned Parenthood CEO Leana Wen, were, quote, extremely concerned they could be.
I worry this president will have quite a party. That is, unless certain sections of law enforcement come after him.
And around the world, leaders are welcoming Joe Biden's election and the prospect of re-engaging with the United States.
When President Trump was elected, a German magazine showed him decapitating the Statue of Liberty. In the new edition, President-elect Biden is restoring it.
Biden put the head back. Oh, thank God. The head is back on the Statue of Liberty. I remember that in Trump's election day. Him, what's it called? Spelunking is going down the thing with ropes. Rappelling, that's right. Rappelling up to the top of the Statue of Liberty and sawing its head off. And if you see the Der Spiegel illustration that shows a bloodied Statue of Liberty with Trump happily holding its head. Jesus, what a bunch of psychos. But that's fine. Maybe that's the theme of today, is that they're complete and total psychos. And you'd think that a lot of them, so I guess this is where the divide is. A lot of the psychos, the young and dumb psychos, just went nuts this weekend and just got plastered and gave each other in the world more coronavirus, which is fine. Those people, I respect that. Like I told you before, I am immature. And I was envious of these people who were 20 years old out and about getting plastered in the middle of the night in huge groups. I shouldn't be envious, but I get emotional issue. I don't know. So anyway, but the media, folks in the media are still psychotic. It's as if at this point now they're addicted to panicking. They're addicted to hyperventilating. They can't stop themselves. Trump has lost the election now. We're in the middle of the transition, which they're sure isn't going to happen. They still have to hyperventilate. Now they've had 4 years of a guy who they've said was an authoritarian fascist Hitler. Now for 4 years, they told us that's exactly who we have. They've brought no evidence. He is not an effective Hitler. He is not an effective authoritarian. He's not an effective fascist. They have dumped on him. Every cable news show, every entertainment show has totally changed over its business model to simply kvetching and defaming Donald Trump and panicking. None of the Colbert is crying. Trevor Lawrence is crying. Is it Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Noah. Who's Trevor Lawrence? Man, Trevor.
I have no idea.
Oh, they've all stopped doing what they're supposed to do. They've all just gone all in. This has to stop. Oh my God! Don't you see? We've hired Donald Trump. And you're like, I thought this was a comedy show. No, there can be no comedy. There can be no comedy. All of this stuff. They've all stopped doing what they've had to do. And still, now you won the election. Now, what's it going to be? He's going to keep tweeting after January 20th. He's going to move from the White House, which somehow the move is going to make you angry. Somehow it's going to make you angry. You're going to assume the worst about the move. He's going to go to a place called Mar-a-Lago. That's right. I know that scares you. That's the eagle's nest in your language, I assume. And he's going to keep tweeting, and he's going to go and start a media company, and he's going to build he's going to have huge rallies around the country, and you're going to expect the rallies to be white supremacist rallies, but they're not going to be. All the people going to them will be decent people, and they won't misbehave, but you'll act as if they did. You'll have some punks go meet some of the rally goers and throw bricks at their heads. And if the rally goers try to defend themselves, it's rally goers beat brick throwers. It doesn't matter. The fact is that this has not stopped. The total panic hasn't stopped. This is simply, they talk about in many cities and towns and states, of course, and countries, that racism is a is it health issue? How do they phrase it?
Public health crisis.
Public health crisis. You're in the midst of a mental health crisis. You have been since 2016. This is crazy. The way you're acting is crazy. Normal people do not act like this. I understand Trump is a little crazy. That's fine. I get it. We all knew Donald Trump. I've known about Donald Trump since about 1986. We all knew Trump through the 80s, through the 90s when he bought the world's gaudiest yacht, and through the 2000s from You're Fired, when he lost all this crap, when he got stuff back, selling vodka, not selling vodka, all his stuff, getting in long Twitter battles with Rosie O'Donnell and whatever it is. His whole life has been an over-the-top tabloid life. We all knew this. You should be comfortable with him. You shouldn't suddenly think the man who most people are more familiar with, the news personality, media personality, newsmaker, more familiar with than any other man maybe in the last century. You should be fairly comfortable that you know him. And he has not changed that much. Rosie is still fat. She considers some women horse faces, sorry. He likes, still loves gaudy stuff. He's into real estate deals, the Trump brand, golfing. If you didn't know that, oh my God, he's golfing again. Yeah, he spent most of his life golfing the last 30 freaking years. Most of his pictures are him golfing with celebrities. Right. When they were allowed to, before they had to be, barked out of polite society. But now you're still expecting it. He's done none of the things you said he would do. He hasn't done anything with the Sudetenland. He hasn't annexed any other country. He hasn't done any of these things that you said this horrible monster would do. He certainly hasn't droned American citizens. Now, you probably aren't aware that ever happened, but it has happened. Just look it up years from now when it's something that's allowed to be discussed. He hasn't sent the intelligence agencies after the media to harass the media. He hasn't used the IRS to harass, conservative groups. Okay? That would be scary stuff if he did that. Thank God nobody's done that. But this is incredible. But they're still afraid. Mika Brzezinski, and I understand, Mika Brzezinski is one of the people who made him.
Yeah.
She's his friend, not me. She made Trump. And she is telling us now, she's still a little worried. Oh, my God. Because she's like, wow, he's leaving office. He's going to have no more power. He's going to be a private citizen. But I need a reason. Is this sexist, Alice, but I'm going to say it. But it goes for men, too. Mm-hmm. Could this be a reaction to plastic surgery? Is that what this is? Is this a reaction to psychotropic drugs? Is this a reaction to just where the country has been this comfortable in this stupid for so long that we've simply, in character and intelligence, simply atrophied? So that we're just complete a legion of dumbasses. That's what you're naming this episode. Let me play some Mika before you say anything else.
Okay.
Right now, I know that for a lot of you are watching for the first time, and you're probably thinking, why is this fat guy talking endlessly and not letting the pretty person talk? And believe me, I agree with it. That is just how things. She'll be talking very, very quickly, very, very soon. My God, I'm speaking like Trump more.
I worry this president will have quite a party with all of this information that he learned as president when he leaves office. That is, unless Willie certain sections of law enforcement come after him.
Yeah, like maybe some of the more lethal ones, Willie, if you know what I mean. Because he knows stuff now. The law enforcement, they have to kick down his door and arrest him.
I do think that this president, this man, has the ability, not just the ability, but the number one sole focus to use everything that he has in his possession for his financial gain. But when it comes to classified information and relationships with foreign adversaries and
can you imagine using the wisdom, experience, and information that you learned as president for financial gain? Imagine that.
I know. I can't imagine that anybody would get speaking engagements or do any lobbying or start charities that have, trade donations for influence.
Maybe a
like
super
that.
Huge, awesome Netflix deal. Imagine that. Trump is going to profit off of the White House. Oh, once again, new territory, exclusive to Trump.
Because I know that people like Hunter Biden or Chelsea Clinton got by purely on merit and absolutely would have had all the jobs they've had and all the success that they've had in their lives if their parents.
Alice, their parents were not Adolf Hitler. Their parents were
their
not.
parents were not politically involved, shall we say? I mean, come on. That's everybody in Congress is a millionaire, and they make so they make a good salary. They make $175,000 a year, but they also have to buy housing in one of the most expensive markets in the country, and jet back and forth to home and Washington D.C. and stuff. So it's not like a crazy big you're going to become a millionaire salary when you take that into account, and yet they're all somehow getting rich. So I mean,
but still, I mean, and I understand that, and that happens all over the place, and politics is dirty, and a lot of people simply run for president simply for the brand enhancement and for the book deals and for the gigs on Fox or MSNBC, etc.
Like Trump.
Right. A lot of people think that's exactly what that was, and you can look at Gingrich, etc. You go there, it's funny, Gingrich runs for president, spends his whole time on the stump and in debates destroying the media and winning, allegiance from conservatives. And, Trump watched that and said, put that in my quiver because I will be doing that when I run.
Friends and conversations that need to be had. This is dangerous. And I worry Donald Trump takes information out of the White House. And I don't know if we've ever seen someone who wants to abuse information that he took in while in office, but he will. And again,
well, is this not the biggest crime in history? He will. Let's indict him now on charges of intending to use information he learned as president right now. It's incredible. It's incredible. I just think he will. Plus, what?
I can't imagine any of the other noble, good-hearted public servants that we've ever elected to public office would ever do such a thing. But Trump, now, he's different. Totally different.
And, of course, by the way, Trump dispensing information from the White House would be the first leak of this administration, I think, probably. Barely has it happened that somebody's leaked, and the media has taken what information that should be confidential and spread it, yay, all over the place, just to show, look, there's chaos in the White House, or else we wouldn't have this document, by the way.
I also know that they have really high standards for taking information that may have been hacked or taken off of a device in some sort of illicit fashion, that they're not quite sure the provenance of the information. They're extremely careful about that as well.
And I'll just say that Donald Trump has access to everything. And when he leaves, he continues to have a great deal of information that he could use to his benefit.
God, I hope so. I hope he's been rifling through. By the way, the great Hillary Clinton, who Mika loved last time around, she had FBI files that she was pouring through in the where the residence is in the White House that they found. And somebody stumbled on and said, "Why are you going through all these FBI files? Are you elected to anything?" And Hillary said, "Leave the room." But that was her. That was her doing stuff. But he's going to have all this stuff. By the way, if he knows something, the fact that he hasn't completely and totally just released every bit of information the government had on the JFK assassination.
Coming.
That is crazy that he hasn't done that.
Aliens?
I want the aliens immediately. I want everything in Area 51. I want all the engagement we've had. Where is this guy? You hire somebody who's going to be completely off the wall as far as convention goes, and he can't give us the good stuff. I want all of that stuff. Did Bobby kill Marilyn? I want that stuff. Trump, if you're listening, release the emails. And I want Hillary's emails, as a matter of fact. The ones about doing yoga in front of her daughter's wedding. I want all of those out immediately.
Well, right. I mean, I do think that that's coming. Once he accepts the loss and these things have played out, I think he's going to start trying to release more stuff. And I think the intelligence community is going to try and put a lid on it. But
do you think so? The intelligence community. God, the fact that we all know words like intelligence community and lid now. So,
lid.
And his personality has shown that he doesn't have a lot of discipline beyond using information or people or relationships to his financial gain. It's always about the money. You follow the money, you end up...
Is there any chance that Joseph Scarborough and Mika Anastasia Brzezinski ever used their relationship with Donald Trump for financial gain?
No, I wouldn't say so at all.
This is too beautiful.
With what the answer is to the question, what's with Russia? You look at Turkey. You look at his relationship in Saudi Arabia and how he handled everything. It's all leading to potential past financial transactions that might have been stopped that never came to fruition, or future financial transactions. And I worry this president will have quite a party.
It's all leading to absolute potential corruption when he's going to sell all the stuff. No, whoa. Okay, that was.
We lost you though.
Did we?
You're off camera now.
Okay, so what you have to do is plug that camera back in, or did the USB get pulled out?
Nope, the USB is still in. I'm still connected to the.
Oh, I got pulled. Oh, I see. I'm up. I just got pulled. Okay, I see. So that is our first. This is our first go round with the video cameras. This is a beta performance here, by the way. You told us. You hear dogs fighting out there, so now you'll be able to see this stuff. That was a child. That was Anson Shattuck, who you just heard.
Can you close the door?
Who's a 5-year-old. He is 5, right?
Yes.
And he came in and tripped over some stuff. There will be. It could have been more catastrophic. I thought it would be. I thought there was something I knew how to troubleshoot, but thankfully he just jarred the camera, which is fine. But so back to Mika.
With all of this information that he learned as president when he leaves office, that is unless, Willie, certain...
That is unless, Willie, and let's get down and dirty on this, to be frankly, dirty, Willie. Someone needs to go in there and throw the guy in cuffs, right? You with me, Willie, right? Right? He needs to be arrested, right? And Willie Guy who has had a career in his life, is thinking like, Jesus, why? Why does she have to throw this question to me? I want to get a gig after this is all over here, doing journalism stuff. And I have her being this moonbatty person saying, admit it. Well, she does sound like a drunk person at a bar. We're going to have to go in there. We're just going to have to, Willie.
Sections of law enforcement come after him.
Yeah, he could find himself in any number of courts.
But mostly, can we go to commercial, Mika? I'm uncomfortable with this, but thank you.
Well, I've said this before, but there are plenty of people on the left who assume that Trump is going to be in jail pretty soon after he leaves office, and are going to be extremely disappointed if that doesn't come true.
I agree with that. I mean, I do think that the Southern District of New York will try to go after him. That said, I think that they've probably tried to go after him for 40, 50 years. I mean, Giuliani is a good friend of Trump now. But Trump would have been a nice trophy to have back in the 80s when you were purple walking a lot of people. And he was totally clean. People can say that he was a bad, dirty businessman or whatever. And I've heard both things. I've heard that he's a great businessman and very kind and the sweetest guy on earth. And I've heard he's a bastard. But either way, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But it just can't stop. They cannot give themselves just a minute just to lay off the gas for a second. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be upset. And at the same time, some are just absolutely ebullient. Ebullient is a word that means happy, yes?
Yes.
Are absolutely ebullient that change is finally coming, and that finally, the rest of the world will respect us again. Because really, it's about what those cliques over there think about us. Remember, Europe loved Obama because Obama was Trudeau. It's the same guy essentially, except, well, I don't.
And Macron.
I'll move around.
Those people.
Yes, exactly. Skinny jeans kind of guy, not necessarily great throwing the first pitch out. Knows a little bit of other languages. He's just, the toast of the town. That's his crowd,
Right.
And they are thrilled that even though Joe Biden actually is not their crowd either, but he is not Trump. And Trump was mean to them, and he wanted them to pay more. And they didn't get to feel elegant and global. And they knew that Trump didn't like globalism, and even though it was elegant to watch, and the ceremonies and the high society, both etiquette and pomp and circumstance, they loved it. The only thing Trump liked was tank parades because he's Trump.
Well, but don't you think it's kind of interesting? Like, what is the difference really? Because both Trump and Biden are sort of like you said, not fully in that circle, right? They're both sort of not quite the WASP class of the world elites, so, and I know in other countries they're not WASPs, but here generally those people have been WASPs,
Right,
like
the well-heeled,
old
beautiful,
money,
well-heeled, beautiful people,
the
right.
Brahmin people, and but it's funny because Joe Biden is the sort of not quite in their class person that they like. Like, he talks about, being a lifeguard down at the pool and how he came from Scranton. Remember how when Obama first picked him as vice president, he was scrappy? That's what everybody kept saying about him. He's scrappy. He takes the train. Like, they love that. It shows that he's, like, of good character, whereas Trump is, like, the nouveau riche, trashy kind of lower class. Because he's trying to be in their clique more so, I think, than Biden is. Biden isn't trying to pass himself off as rich. I mean, even though he's obviously trying to get rich, like all of them. But
yeah, he's succeeded as well. But Biden was also from Scranton, and where was he? Scranton, and he was always from two places. Scranton, Pennsylvania, and whatever he was.
Somewhere in Delaware.
In Delaware. Yeah. Always from two places. I'm from Scranton and Delaware. There's Sally Shattuck. I don't know if she's on camera here.
No, she's not yet.
Okay. Sally Shattuck. The kids are nice enough to drop in one by one with us today. Thank you, Sally. I'll be seeing you in a bit. It's like hecklers. But, no, there's more coming. We need to get something huge. We need one of those police barricades. What's that called?
I don't know.
The big cop door thing. But Biden's not really like, he's not one of these effete guys, really, but he'll try to be. All the Scranton stuff is out the door now. As soon as he's inaugurated, he's a really well-off career politician from D.C., and they all become homogeneous after a while, and he's going to be no different, really, than John Kerry. Kerry is a special kind of jerk, but he's a lifelong senator, and they love to hear themselves speak, and they feel that their very aura, being within a quarter of a mile of you, is of some import to your life, and that you will never forget the experience. And just one of those things, but we'll see what happens. I'm not surprised. I've never, and it's such an intellectually weak thing to go to say that, you know what, Europe doesn't respect us anymore. NATO doesn't respect, our allies don't respect us anymore. Allies always hate. Western Europe always hates Republican presidents. They hated Bush. They hated Reagan. I remember during Reagan, you could see it all over the place. There were always huge global, that is Cyril Shattuck, guys, or as Jerry Callahan calls him, Cy Shattuck, named after Cy Young. He just turned 3 years old. Is that correct, Alice?
That's not correct, no.
He just turned 2 years old?
He's 2 and 7 months or more than that. Yeah.
He's 2 and 7 months.
Yeah.
Anson just turned 5 years old.
True.
That's the first interloper was Anson, who bowled over the camera. Second one was Sally, who heckled me in front of the camera. And this is Cyril Shattuck, and he is actually he's actually the funniest guy we have as a young person. And he is a funny man. He's the one in that video. If you saw the video of the two kids, when we told them that Donald Trump was no longer president, Biden had won, who was like, what? And and he's also the one who's afraid of dinosaurs. You're afraid of dinosaurs, Cyril, right? You'd like dinosaurs?
He just woke up, so
yeah, he does not seem pleased with me. Man, the world is seeing your death stare for the first time, Cyril, but I'm used to it. So I mean, that's what's happening right now. More and more, the Zoomers are partying, getting plastered in the streets. They don't care. They don't know what Joe Biden is or what really Trump is. They know Trump's the bad dude with the hair on the. So they
voted for democracy, honey.
Right. Well, they're by and large they're clueless. What we saw pouring out in the streets this Saturday, which no leftist, no left media, no public health official, no president-elect had any problem with, even though there were tens of millions of people in the streets together partying, plastered. Absolutely not social distancing.
Singing, chanting, yelling.
Exactly. All these things that we're told are killing us since the world is over. There's a few different classes. None of them were castigated by the media anyway. But the young people had a good time. They got away with it. Then you've got the people like Mika, who is totally...
2 more hogs got the fever.
She got the fever, and she is broken as a person. There's a good percentage of the population, probably 28 million people, who are just broken human beings and maybe not fixable. And then there are people the media people, who are just so thrilled that they can play make-believe about the gallantry and decency in Washington, D.C., especially media types. Oh, they love this stuff. They love it. They love to talk down to you from on high about the respect has been returned to the White House. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the executive mansion, once again, will be flowing with integrity and the foresight and forethought of along the lines of those great men who once inhabited the executive mansion once again.
And you have to bring up how Biden has experienced grief, so he understands human pain. We finally have an empathetic person in the White House again.
Exactly. And the best barometer of that, of course, is what the world thinks about it.
And around the world, leaders are welcoming Joe Biden's election and the prospect of re-engaging with the United States.
Joe Biden has won.
Much of the
I love it. It's the prospect of re-engaging. Now, in days past, in the old times, they would absolutely re-engage. But alas, nobody has had such a monster as this last president run the executive branch of government. So it's not guaranteed that we'll be able to re-engage. Some of these relationships between the United States and other countries are simply over forever. They're crumbled. They're sour relationships. We'll never again be able to look the UK in the eyes. Those days are over. The Canadians will look askance at us if we ever hold out an olive branch. That is over. Trump was so bad that he ruined it forever. It can never be fixed or healed. It is over. Over. But maybe, the prospect that maybe they can re-engage, at least that flicker of hope now is illuminating the world.
world is reacting to President Trump's defeat as if Americans toppled a dictator.
The world.
Jesus, you know somebody had to last second say, you got to throw as if in there. You can't just say Americans toppled a dictator. I know you believe it, Carl, or whatever your name is, but you can't just say that. Americans toppled a dictator. You'd think in the rest of the world, some of these other countries actually know what dictators are.
And pretty recent memory, too. I mean, some of them have dictators right now. And, America's completely free. People can do whatever
you think
they want.
Cuban Americans feel that America toppled a dictator? Jesus. Joe Biden's administration was hanging out with Raul Castro at a baseball game.
Had to get rid of it. It degraded America.
Congratulations have poured in for President-elect Biden. That's normal. What's not is the sense of relief that America First isolationism is over.
I have a particular sense of relief that America First isolationism has come to an end. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody who's not in media or academia in another country, not just another, liberal from another country. Americans, thankfully, that's over.
How are we isolationist? I mean, other than, not being in the Iraq War, which the rest of the world I thought didn't like in the first place, really.
Well, if we join a healthy coalition... No, you know how we're isolationist? Paris climate is how we're isolationists.
Oh.
Trump pulled out of that in the Iran deal, and he pulled out of that. That's called, if you don't give a whole bunch of cash for terrorists to kill innocent people around the world, you're an isolationist. And if you don't hang around in a climate accord that puts over weighs and overburdens Americans, even though we've hit our goals, but looks to be punitive to Americans, while letting the Chinese and Indians do whatever the hell they want, then that's being isolationist again. If you don't get stepped on by foreign countries and pushed around and treated like a chump, then you are an isolationist.
Mayor of Paris tweeted, "Welcome back, America." When President
Fuck the mayor of Paris is what I have to say. So two things about that.
You're going to have to go back and bleep that now.
I will bleep that in the audio, but you're going to have to find a way to bleep that in the video.
That's my job now. Okay.
I will never. I don't care. There a lot of things can bother me. But in politics forever. But what the mayor of Paris ever says about anything American, I will never care about. I will never care about the freaking mayor of Paris ever, or the mayor of London. I like England. I think it's a wonderful place. Any of these Euro lefty freaking, social-esque, dominated boutique countries, I have no time for. The mayor of Paris is happy. Screw you, mayor of Paris. Jesus Christ. God. You have to be 100 years away, is my rule. You have to be at least 100 years away from dumb, gruff, boorish Americans having liberated your country before you're allowed to say anything about anything American. That's my rule. Oh, shit. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. Those of you listening, this is new to us because this is our first video, but I stopped the audio recording there for a moment.
Uh-oh.
So, but those of you watching saw it happen. Those of you listening would have had no idea. But that's where we are. It is so good.
Trump was elected, a German magazine showed him decapitating the Statue of Liberty. In the new edition, President-elect Biden is restoring it.
Somebody put that together. Are you on video, Alice? Are
No.
you seeing what's happening?
No.
Okay. What's on video?
Just a black screen?
Why don't you just make it all me?
That's harder.
Is it really?
Well, it's just a little more complicated when I have him needing, because I have to move your screen because I have it cropped now.
We're learning as we go. I'm taking your wisdom.
Whatever. I'm sure I could set it up to do it more easily.
No. I'm just asking live. The people want to know how this gets built. You just did this today. It's a man tool, by the way. I'm using, right, Alice?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah. So But can you imagine Donald Trump in the first issue of Der Spiegel was decapitating the Statue of Liberty? It is crazy. In the second one, Biden's restoring, puts the head back on. And you want me to care what these psychos think? Jesus. In this new episode, we will have the head put back on the Statue of Liberty. But Joe Biden, he is good. He's the kind of guy who would put a head back on. Oh, my God. By the way, some of the most prolific decapitators of the last 50 years were ISIS. And under Biden, they did really well. And under Trump, they mostly were burned.
Oh, I didn't realize you were going to say ISIS, because the more recent statue decapitators I could think of were American lefties.
Well, I like that. Damn it, Alice. I wish I had thought of that.
Yeah.
We will write about that.
Nobody has knocked over any statues in America except for
that is a great
point. For Antifa or whatever, and these college students who hate Columbus and stuff. So I mean, I assume they're going to have a problem with the Statue of Liberty at some point too. Probably somebody who was involved in that also had slaves or something or whatever, or was evil or
well
who knows?
Said,
I mean,
they're well said. I will write about that this weekend, I think.
Oh.
For Sunday or Monday. Well said, Alice.
So what will actually change?
My feeling is on the statues is that sure. You have this this whole thing with Der Spiegel showing Trump behead a statue and then Biden put the head back on. But from what I've seen from 2020 is that it's liberals and crazy woke progressives who have been decapitating statues.
Right, so I assume in your
statues.
version, which is the audio version, you're just going to cut out
Correct.
my whole contribution.
There was no contribution.
Engagement is back.
Engagement is back.
Oh.
Engagement is back. My God, isn't that wonderful?
Does that mean
is engagement back with the dictator of North Korea who has nukes, where engagement and diplomacy might be something valuable? Or is that gone? Because I think this president engaged with him pretty well in a mildly obscene way, I agree. But still, with some results.
What about engagement in the Middle East with Israel and all the Arab countries?
Like I was just saying, what about engagement in the Middle East with Israel and those Gulf Arab states, mostly the Sunni states, who needed the U.S., and the U.S. and Israel together completely remade the landscape in the Middle East. And we've never been closer to peace in the Middle East than we are right now. Is there what's my next good point, Alice?
So let's see, engagement.
What about engagement to?
I was gonna say the other thing I was gonna say about engagement being back is that maybe that means that we'll go back to like sending James Taylor when French terrorists, because a lot of French terrorists have been killing people in France lately.
Yes.
And we have not sent any American musicians to heal the hearts of the French people. So maybe we'll go back to doing that.
Another great point, Alice. Another great point. I was going to behead men, and then I hear fire and rain. Can thou do now? Can thou do? Oh man, I'm not a James Taylor lover. He is I think he's probably a really nice guy. He does live right here in Massachusetts, but he is the guy to send over. If you're going to be a dumb progressive American, you do send him over.
Biden says he'll refund the WHO, rejoin the Paris Climate Accord.
Great. Oh, man.
You mean the people who hid the coronavirus epidemic from the world for months and told us there was no human-to-human transmission in mid-January? Those people? Those are the people we're going to fund?
Wait a second. Did you just say Kung Flu? Because it sounds like what you said is racist to me. Or did you say Wuhan virus?
No, the WHO.
I know, but you're saying that they hid something to do with
I'm
China.
saying the WHO hid the human-to-human transmission of the virus from the world in mid-January.
Yes, but you're not allowed to push back on anything the WHO did in January because that's pushing back on the Chinese, and that is racist if you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Rules. Those are the rules for approximately 60 more days, maybe less. I'm not even sure how long the whole thing takes. Meanwhile, back here in Massachusetts, in the United States, we are all about to close down again.
Yeah, Chicago's done. New York is done. Everybody's shutting down. Back to quarantine, baby.
And it is... I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but at this point, you might as well not report on anything. At this point, just make the news up. I know they have been making the news up as well, but usually they work off something. They work off a subject or something in the news that's happening. At this point, just make it up. Why not? Flying rabbit seen, in the cockpit of the space shuttle smoking weed. Go with it. Dateline, Texas. A yellow-tailed fleck rabbit was found, behind the yoke of the space shuttle Sunday, when maintenance crews discovered him smoking a cannabis reefer. And might as well. Everything is so made up now. It's just might as well. It's because when we've got this thing going through the roof, COVID going through the roof right now, and nobody says anything, when there's a huge party in the streets, huge, millions and millions and millions. We saw everything. You can't go out. You can't be with your family for Thanksgiving because there are parties in the streets and everybody's going to die, etc. You can't do that whatsoever. The media is telling you, you need to cancel your plans. That's you listening to this podcast right now. That's you right there. And that's other people who are trying to work for a living and eke by. You can't go out in the streets. You can't do anything whatsoever. It is not cool to do that whatsoever. Because this virus, if you go out, you will spread the virus amongst people, between yourselves, even if you're younger people, and that'll spread to older people. And then they will die because the hospitals are already full. They're already full across the country. In some cases, of course, that full means 14% coronavirus and 86% everything else, but that's fine. But the hospitals are already full. You're literally killing people if you do any of that. You can't do that. Trump killed people. He killed Herman Cain. Trump has killed 250,000 people because he would not promote social distancing or masks. Social distancing or masks, those must be promoted. If we can social distance and stay away from each other and not yell and party next to each other and spit in our masks, then we'll finally end this thing. The virus will go away. Lives will be saved. If we don't do that, millions of people will die. And if they die, by the way, that is a malicious murder that's happened. Absolutely. So anytime we see people in groups at all, we should condemn it. And law enforcement, like they're chasing Jewish people in New York through schools for some reason, law enforcement should be following up and pursuing these people who do this, who go out in groups at all, and finding the hell out of them, every single person, and they should be making arrests when they need to, because this is so deadly. This pandemic is so deadly that we cannot let people congregate at all. No funerals, no Thanksgiving, no Halloween, unless you put the piece of candy through a 500-yard piece of PVC pipe. You cannot gather at all. That is it.
The weather was so beautiful. Here it is November. It's unseasonably warm on this side of the country. Sometimes during the campaign you saw people all bundled up in coats. But I can't get over how warm. It's almost like Mother Nature was cooperating.
This is victory speech meets tailgate, George. We've never seen something quite like this.
There is also a sense of euphoria in this country.
I call it unbridled exuberance.
This feels like a victory celebration for a baseball team, a football team. It reminds me of Mardi Gras.
On Monday, it's unbridled exuberance. If it's you and your friends or family together, it's murderous, selfish behavior. But, we've just, it's victory over Trump Day, so the public health, the COVID will stand down and stand by for one day.
If you've been to a parade, that's what it feels like, a big old celebration.
Look at these images. This is football season, right? This looks like Friday night in America after your favorite
Friday nights in America are back, at least for one night, thanks to Joe Biden.
team just won the state championship.
You feel it. The joy is palpable out there.
Right away, people were running to this area. This has been the biggest...
Nobody condemns him. Nobody. And even the new elected coronavirus president, we brought in Joe Biden because he wears the mask. He knows how to do this. He's the coronavirus president. I would have had this under did it right the way. And Trump cost 30,000 deaths a month for... Joe Biden knows how to beat this. Damn it, he knows what to do. Joe, anything? Do you have anything to say to anybody who's out in the streets now? And according to your science, and I follow the science. According to your science, by the way, that's spreading the disease. I follow the science. Is there anything to say? Anything to say to these people? Maybe, possibly, stop partying or soft, crunched into, crowded spaces all over the place, hugging and kissing and getting plastered everywhere. Do you have anything to say to them? Maybe stop doing that? Media, anything to say? President-elect Biden, anything to say? Nothing to say. Crickets completely. It just stopped. These people are total frauds. But hey, the virus doesn't spread. When Biden wins, the virus doesn't spread in Boston. Yay! Have fun. Screw it. Trump is gone, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing can do anything. It doesn't spread in Philly. COVID's all over. On each other. What is it called? Is it dropules? Modules? What is it called? Those little droplets, I guess they are.
Yes.
All through the Philadelphia night sky. Yay! Anybody condemning this? Republican, Democratic governor, Democratic mayor, Democratic president-elect, Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx, whatever it is. Anybody? The Lion WHO guy? Anybody have anything to say? Anything in Chicago? The psychotic mayor of Chicago. Anything to say about this particular gathering? You already beat, for some reason, clamped down with your shock troops on a gay party at a beach where there was 11 people there 4 months ago. Anything about this?
They don't give a about you.
AOC, what about your people in Brooklyn and Queens and all those areas in New York? Anything? Nothing. Hey, who gives a bleep? It's a lie. Joe Biden, do you have anything to say to these people? They're all going to cause mass murder. 250,000 is going to be about 300 million dead when this is all over, according to the mathematics of science, considering these are all super spreader events.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Fantastic. That is great. Okay, Bill de Blasio, anything from you? You're right there. You're right there at ground zero. Meanwhile, for some reason, your law enforcement are chasing Jewish people around out of churches and educational facilities. You're running after them, which seems absolutely fine. No red flag whatsoever. There's nothing Hitler about chasing Jewish people. Bill de Blasio, who's actually at one of these rallies, what do you have to say? Should these young kids, should everybody out there during the celebration go inside? This is a public health disaster, right? New York's going to be overrun. Tens of thousands more dead.
It's liberation. It's just joyous. People have felt this weight and a sense of we're divided, and we shouldn't be that way. And now there's a feeling that...
Didn't Hugh Grant tell us that it felt like Harvey Weinstein
was sitting on his chest?
Yes. Isn't that a weight that you're going to feel like if you get this soon? What about all the coffins in Coney Island, wherever they showed us in a few months ago? You know, when you needed the comfort ship to come steaming by and all the liberals said it would never get there. Jesus. But now, so what do we do about these huge crowds during the pandemic where everybody's going to die? It's liberation. Psycho.
Anything's possible, that we can heal again, that we can move forward. And look, Joe Biden and Colin.
How are we going to heal again when we're flatlining in the ER? Actually, we can heal it by... Ooh, great. We're healing again by dying.
Kamala Harris did something amazing. This is turning out to be a huge victory all over the country, but it's also the beginning of the healing. That's what we need in this country, this city, everywhere.
Chuck Schumer, so many dead, so many dying, please.
Now we take Georgia, and then we change the world. Yeah!
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Mr. Schumer?
Now we take Georgia, and then we change America.
Yay!
Yay, we love changing America, especially with no mask on. Schumer was the first time he said it. That was somebody telling him to put on a mask.
Are you back on camera yet?
Not yet. I'm trying to get rid of this person.
Yes, there is a 2-year-old
bothering me.
Harassing.
Let's just leave it at
harassing. That. We will do. Harassing my wife. All right now, which is something that happens usually. So let's see. We needed to. The coronavirus stuff is happening. How bad is it, Alice? I don't know what to believe. I always hear. I get these wire stories every 6.5 days. Hospitals somewhere are being overrun. Generally, I find that when you look into it deeper, sure they're overrun, but it's a small number of COVID cases.
Okay, so I mean, the ICUs being overrun is a little overblown at the moment. I mean, sure, in some areas, but like ICUs run at like 70-80% capacity anyway, because we're not in the habit of having a bunch of empty ICU beds just sitting around. Like hospitals don't do that. So
hospitals are hotels for sick people, if you didn't know, and they make a lot of money there. They're in the sick people business.
So there's normally people in ICUs because people get sick from other things besides COVID. So, you know, when you hear that because of COVID, the ICUs are now at 90% capacity in this area or whatever, that may not necessarily be a huge cause for alarm, depending. But we're definitely heading back up. It's definitely not looking good. It's a bigger surge than in the summer. It's hitting some of the places that didn't get hit before, like the Plains states, and it's coming back to some places that did get hit early on, the Northeast, which is like Boston, New York.
Breaking news, California has become the second state to surpass 1 million COVID-19 infections since the start of the pandemic.
Yep, I think Texas was first.
So, Alice, what if 150 million Americans get this, but the death rate is very small? It still means a lot of deaths, right? So, is that the point?
Right. So, I mean...
So, it's not the Spanish flu.
It's not... It could be close to the Spanish flu, I think, in the end. It's not the swine flu, that's for sure, because the swine flu 60 million Americans got, and...
Really?
Yeah. But only like 12,000 or 15,000 or something died because it had a very, very extremely low death rate. But so this death rate is definitely higher than that because obviously we've already had way more people than that die. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many Americans will ultimately end up getting this. It's kind of hard to guess. And you know, people do die from this. Older people in particular, certainly. But, you know, I think that Europe is having problems containing it now. Some of the places that had trouble containing it early are, you know, starting to be back in the news with spikes. Massachusetts, New York, some of the Midwestern
Are
states.
you on camera yet?
No, I'm not on camera. And Chicago, these places are not looking great, and a lot of these places also had huge shouty gatherings this past weekend. Which
was it good? Was it celebratory shouty for Biden?
I don't think that affects COVID droplets. I just don't think it affects COVID droplets. I don't think they know whether you're in a church choir
Did you not
or you're
hear
shouting
this?
about Biden.
By the way, Alice Shattuck is making her return returned to video after being harassed, and that is Cyril Shattuck with her, who's thrilled to see himself. Oh, jeez.
Who's that, Cyril?
All right, Alice. So how was your video experience today so far, other than the harassment that you've gotten?
I moved you. Yep, that's you. It's been good. I think the video's going pretty well. I mean, we'll see. We'll get it up on YouTube for you guys. So if you're listening to this, it might even be on YouTube by now.
So should we, what about all the other things? What about like locals and Patreon and all those other things? Do we throw it everywhere or no?
We'll see.
Where do you guys, will you let us know where you want to see this? I mean, if you're watching anyway, you know, I had intended to, you know, try to take the weekend and drop 111 pounds. But you want this, then, you know, fine. And that's my final, you know.
Yeah, we've been getting demands for YouTube. And, I mean, while we can put up just audio episodes on YouTube, YouTube is traditionally considered a video website. So.
Right.
So we figured we'd try and get a video up for you guys and give us feedback. Tell us what you think, how it went. You know, maybe you enjoy getting to see the interruptions live and in person.
I don't watch stuff on YouTube generally. I mean, I've used my iPhone and to walk around and do stuff while I listen to podcasts. And if I have YouTube on at all, either my phone will close to standby and it dies, or you have to keep the app open.
Right.
Unless you pay for it, which of course.
Or, yeah, somebody was telling us a hack, like you can put the website into desktop mode or, I mean, I suppose people can just listen on a computer too. Like if you are at a job where you can have headphones on at work,
yes.
I guess.
We don't want, by the way, we don't want suggestions on how to hack our way through stuff or cheats or other workarounds to save money at all. But send every one of them to us, please, because I will use each and every one of them. I am happy to give it to the man as much as possible. It did not sound right. But
do you want to say hi, Cyril?
Say hi.
You want to say hello?
Uh-oh. Nothing. Oh, hi. Hi, Cyril. Okay. Nobody wants to see this else.
Okay.
I think. Oh, maybe they do. Who knows? Nice people do. I'm just not one of them. But okay.
Okay.
No. I assume that you don't want to see kids, right? Don't lie. Any guy who's listening doesn't want to see kids, and I don't blame you guys. I'm not a kid person either. I just have a lot of them. All right. So, anything else that we need to talk about before we go? Since it's our inaugural video day, anything else jump out at you?
You know, look out for COVID out there. Oh, he wants my headphones.
Look out for COVID out there?
Look out for COVID out there.
Okay, so we have nothing, so we're done. Okay,
I mean,
Jesus.
no, this is spiking, okay? I want to be clear with everybody.
You put a camera in front of you, and you're now a news cupcake? Make sure your four-legged friends are also warm, please, everybody. Jeez.
No.
You know, before you go to bed, why don't you hug your kids a little bit harder tonight?
No.
We'll be right back here at the same time tomorrow night.
Stop. I like if our listeners die, honey, then our show won't be very successful. So
guys,
don't
this is a PSA. Look out for COVID. All right? Look out for it. Most of the people I know who've passed away from it weren't looking out for it. You know, you never know. It's sneaky. Look out for COVID. What else is there, Alice? What about
I don't have to come
anything?
On this podcast.
Anything on yellow snow? So, I mean, usually I suggest people swim immediately after eating. Where are you on? All right. I think that might be it for a while. Who handles getting Derek Clegg to start playing us out, Alice? Is that you or me?
That's you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate it. Thank you for tolerating this video broadcast. And you can see my wife's life right now, being hassled by kids, etc. I always tell my wife I never know why anybody would be a single mother.
That's also what's happening to me while I make the show notes. But for now, go ahead and check us out on Twitter at BurnBarrelPod, Facebook.com/BurnBarrelPodcast.
C'est La Vie.
You can also shoot us an email, burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com, and now you can check us out at Tom Shattuck's Burn Barrel on YouTube.
See you later, everybody. Thank you.